Have you ever wondered why, after all those years in school, you can recite the elements of the periodic table, but drawing up a simple budget feels like deciphering ancient hieroglyphs? It's pretty wild, right? Especially when you hear that over 80% of people in the U.S. get bamboozled by a tax form, and a whole quarter of people with student loans are struggling to keep up. It's crystal clear that knowing how to manage your money is crucial, yet most schools don't touch the topic with a 10-foot pole. So what gives? Well, in this video, I am going to discuss 5 reasons personal finance isn't taught in schools. So the first big reason why personal finance is missing from our classrooms is that the corporate ladder has changed. The whole idea of climbing the corporate ladder until you hit retirement just doesn't cut it anymore. Back in the day, the plan was pretty straightforward. Work hard, get a good education, land a job, and then enjoy the perks of a stable position, complete with a pension and other goodies. But that's not really how things work these days. The game has changed a lot. Tax systems have evolved, giving people more freedom, but also more responsibility when it comes to planning their retirement. And let's not forget the economy. It's had its share of ups and downs, making the old pathway to success less reliable. Jobs aren't as secure as they used to be, and finding stable work can feel like searching for a needle in a haystack. This shift means that knowing how to manage your finances, save for retirement, and navigate an unpredictable job market is more crucial than ever. But here's the kicker. While financial education could be the golden ticket to making it in this new landscape, our schools haven't quite caught up to this reality. It's like we're preparing students for a world that no longer exists, without equipping them with the tools they need for the world that does. All right, the second reason why personal finance isn't part of the school syllabus is not many teachers know how to teach it. Yep, you heard that right. Despite how crucial knowing your way around a budget or understanding how to save for retirement is, the people who could teach us, well, many of them are scratching their heads too. The thing is, our school system's kind of stuck in the past, still majorly focused on traditional subjects like math and chemistry. These are the areas that colleges and universities are hungry for, so it's no surprise they get all the attention. But when it comes to financial literacy, a skill just as essential as algebra or understanding the periodic table, we hit a snag. Most teachers haven't been given the tools they need to pass this knowledge on, making them as lost as the rest of us when it comes to managing money. So, while financial literacy might not have the same old-school charm as dissecting a frog or memorizing the capitals of every country, its absence leaves a gaping hole in our education. It's like we're being prepped to solve complex equations and write essays on Shakespeare, but no one's showing us how to balance a checkbook or navigate a mortgage. And in a world where financial stability is more do-it-yourself than ever, that's a pretty big oversight. The third reason is they expect it to be taught at home. The truth is, learning about money and how to manage it often starts with our families. But many parents and guardians themselves aren't too sure about where to kick things off when it comes to teaching their kids about finances. In fact, lots of people running households are scratching their heads on how to make the topic of money make sense to their little ones in a way that's easy to grasp and not a total snooze fest. Think about it. If the grown adults are feeling lost in the sauce about their own financial literacy, what are the chances they'll be able to pass on solid money wisdom to the next generation? It's like trying to teach someone to swim when you're still using floats yourself. This gap in knowledge at home means many kids might not get the foundational understanding of personal finance they need, making it even harder to catch up later in life. So while we're pointing fingers at schools for not having courses on budgeting or saving, there's also a big old question mark over why we're not getting these lessons from our parents or guardians. It's a tricky situation because it means breaking a cycle of financial confusion that, for some families, has been going on for generations. The fourth reason is consumerism. The idea here is that there might just be some vested interests in keeping the general population a bit in the dark about financial literacy. Why? Well, the more debt we rack up, the happier are those banks, corporations, and other financial institutions that thrive on the interest payments we're all making. Think about it like this. If everyone was clued up on how to manage their money effectively, maybe we'd all be carrying less debt, which means less profit for those big financial players. This isn't to say there's some grand conspiracy going on, but it does highlight how the current state of affairs can be pretty convenient for those raking in the interest payments. So while you're out here trying to figure out how to budget or save for retirement without much guidance from our schools or families, the wheels of consumerism keep turning, and the cash registers keep ringing for some. It's a bit of a wake-up call to push for more financial education. And the fifth and final reason is, it's downright intimidating. You see, financial lingo feels like a whole other language for most of us. And let's be honest, it's a language that doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. This complexity and the jargon-filled world of finance can make a lot of adults shy away from digging deeper into their financial health. It's like we all know we need money to live, keep a roof over our heads, but beyond that, getting into the nitty-gritty of managing and growing that money feels like venturing into uncharted territory. The result? Many of us end up avoiding the topic altogether, too spooked by the jargon and the complexity to ask the questions that really matter. It's a bit of a vicious cycle, really. We're not taught about personal finance in a way that's approachable and understandable, so it remains this big, scary monster. And because it's seen as complicated and intimidating, it continues to be left out of the curriculum, leaving each new generation just as bewildered as the last about how to handle their finances. Breaking down these barriers, making finance feel accessible and manageable is crucial. Imagine if, instead of being met with a wall of intimidating terms and concepts, we were introduced to the basics of money management in a way that felt as straightforward as learning how to cook a simple meal or change a tire. That's the kind of change that could really turn things around, making us all feel a bit more in control of our financial destinies. Let's keep pushing for that shift, making personal finance a topic for everyone, not just those who can decipher the jargon. By acknowledging the importance of financial literacy and pushing for its inclusion in educational curriculums, we can begin to empower the next generation with the tools they need to navigate an increasingly complex financial world. If you're serious about attaining financial freedom, I suggest you watch this video next to make sure you avoid the 7 types of people that keep you in debt.